I do not use any kind of social media and I have never used it. I have tried it a lot of times, but I could never really get into them. The platform that I tried to use the most was Instagram, but I could never get into it. There were a lot of reasons. My story, why, how, and how I could not get into it. It all started back in 2016. I was in a small town. There was a guy with a phone and he came from a big city, so he was already aware of Instagram, Facebook, and all of the social media platforms. At the time, I just got my new phone and I tried to use a lot of things, obviously, including Instagram. So I get into it. I tried to download it, and the first thing I noticed is that my mobile internet was gone. A couple of years forward, I'm in high school now. The environment is different. I'm in a big city. Almost all of the people are using Instagram, so I obviously tried to do that as well. But again, because I didn't really see the point or connection with the people, I did not try to use it at all. I did not even find it interesting. Again, a year later, in 2018, when I start my English learning journey, I discover a lot of content on Instagram. But again, because of a couple of reasons, the main one is time. When I learned that I was spending 4 or 5 hours a day, I reasoned that I would just better spend them on YouTube instead. I would learn much more, I would get experience, and I just liked watching videos more than scrolling pictures. Half a year later, I tried to get on the Instagram again, but with my own content creation, I guess. I was trying to teach English now. I was trying to teach English with posts, Russian English posts. So that was the idea. I posted 100 posts. That was my goal. If after 100 posts it didn't get traction, I would just ditch it because I spent a lot of time on it, like 5 hours a day, writing and designing the template for Instagram pictures. Immediately after 100 posts, I deleted the Instagram app. I could not use it. I did not use it. I did not like it either. About social media and YouTube. While YouTube is a social media, I do not use it for entertainment. Before anything, I used it for learning English. I just watched something that I liked. After that, I got into education and self-improvement, watching that instead, educating myself and improving. Probably one of the things is that while I can't be objective 100%, but I can definitely say how it did not affect my life. When I'm in a conversation with someone, I always notice how people get distracted so easily. For example, a while ago, I was talking to my friend in real life. He got distracted 4 times in 10 minutes. He could not hold a conversation for longer than 2 minutes before he got his phone. And I'm not talking about checking his time. He would literally just full on text someone or scroll Instagram. The weird part is that not just one of my friends, but all of them are like that. I intentionally try to notice those things, and it's not that hard when you don't crave your phone. It literally goes like this. You're talking to someone, you're explaining to them, they ask a question, you start explaining, you start articulating with your hands, you kind of stare out at the distance, then you turn your attention back to the person while you're talking, explaining something. And they are on their phone, texting someone. And at those moments, I literally just stop talking and stare at them. The time it requires for them to feel that is insanely long. It takes like 20-30 seconds for them to notice that you're not speaking, you're just looking at them. I usually call out them on that. It's very fucked up. that is one of the things I noticed. People just can't even hold a conversation. Even myself, I often notice if a person has a longer attention span than me, it actually gets hard to hold a conversation for me without daydreaming. One of the other things that I noticed as well was if a person on their phone, usually when they're texting, you might as well consider them dead because they're not gonna hear you. They're not gonna listen to you. When you ask, when you call for them, they just don't respond. It takes like 10 times to call their name for them to hear you. What? What? Did you call me? Social media is not all the problem. The people are the problem themselves in a way because they don't really have something they need to focus on in their lives. For example, in writing, you need to focus or you just can't type anything. And when you do get distracted, you just stop typing because it's a very conscious state. You need to be able to focus. People just don't really have such things. How do I focus in a distracting environment or when I can't focus? Probably the main tool that I use is talking out loud. How does it work at all? Basically, the idea is that when you talk, you have to be very conscious of the things you say. You can listen and start daydreaming, but you cannot talk and start daydreaming. To be able to talk and form a sentence, you need to focus. You need to be conscious about it. So when you have a main idea that you need to work out, you can talk out loud. It's a very, very powerful tool if you can do that, especially if you have an environment that allows you to do that. Basically, it works like this. For example, you need to you just need to write something, an article, maybe a blog post. You have a main idea and you need to extrapolate on that. What do? Ask questions. That's probably the best way to do it. Ask questions and try to answer them out loud. Force yourself to answer them out loud. If you were writing about glass, for example, how would you write about it? So glass, what is glass? Glass was a sand before it was melted into the transparent material. How glass is made, you need some sand or quartz or something like that. I'm not sure of the material. You melt it, you make it a liquid. Then you have that kind of thing where a pole, literally, or a pipe horizontally drops down on the liquid like this. Then it lifts up and you have like a sheet of glass. That's how it's made. How does glass change over time? Glass is a liquid. It kind of flows down. What's so important about glass? It lets light through. You just ask questions and you can extrapolate on that. Just speak out loud. That's the way to focus. You might get distracted, but that distraction does not equal the short attention span. I mean, if you're talking about glass, if you extrapolate enough, you'll probably start talking about the universe itself. It's not really getting distracted as in social media. It's rather getting distracted in your thoughts, which is like 1,000 times better than social media.